hear you. Hello.
Hello.
Look at this. Hello. I'm Mrs. Doubtfire.
I didn't mess with the countdown, Josh, but you were counting like the Tootsie Roll Pop commercial from Forever Ago with the owl.
A 2.
Yeah, that was very much what you were doing. I was like, hello?
They've got this new defense mechanism where I mess with the countdown so that I can't be messed with. And then our poor guests are like, huh? What's happening? Hey, Parker, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Josh?
I'm good. I smashed my finger on the way in and it's turning purple, but other than that. Yeah, living the dream. Hey, everybody, welcome in. Guys, you're here for Highlight Heroes featuring the one and only Itsannamargaret. Oh, you're such a personality. You immediately do the like, hello, it's me. Anna, introduce yourself. Tell the people, where can they find you?
Hey, I'm Itsannamargaret, and I'm really creative. So my socials on all kind of wherever I am are just Itsannamargaret, and so you can find me kind of all over.
That's perfect. Any big projects like YouTube is Itsannamargaret, right?
Yeah. So it's the same everywhere, but I am trying to get my YouTube channel going, so that's been really fun. And so I do lots of board game, D&D, and cosplay content there.
There's a lot of good cosplay tips and stuff on there. I've gone through them. So
you also feature, so you can plug yourself, I guess.
Yeah, I need
if you're
to watch
on there.
those videos. Those are the only ones.
I was like, actually, not those.
No. Skip those ones. Go to all
those
the
ones. Well, we're going to get to know you even better, Anna, and our audience is finally going to get to ask you some questions at the end. But first, we're going to do a few announcements. Starting with you, Parker.
I'm here to tell you guys about our schedule. Most importantly, there will be no show for Off the Rails this Friday. I know we're very, very upset about it. They will be back next week, but this week, some of our players will be at Gen Con. So if you're going to be over there, make sure to check them out and see them in their live play games there. But we will be here for Saturday's game of Conundrum Company at 6 p.m. EST like it usually is. So you guys can hang out with us then. We have a new community event going called Conundrum Babies. So join the cast of Conundrum Company for a special non-canonical playground adventure. I have no idea what that means, and I'm playing in it, but it should be very, very fun.
Think Rugrats Lost in Paris. That's what we're doing.
That was an amazing movie, and I'm happy about that. Yeah. So now I'm picturing all
the memories.
Yeah.
I'm actually just picturing that one scene where Zal falls through into the alleyway using Fly for the first time, but to the sound of Who Let the Dogs Out.
Who let the dog?
Yeah,
wow.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
This is such a nostalgia trip. Holy buckets.
You're welcome.
That just endorphins washed over me. Yeah.
But on to you, Josh.
None of this amazing content could happen without our fantastic sponsors, the first of whom is Skull Splitter Dice. I miss Adam's
I know every time, but
now.
I can't do it.
It's become, I'm trained to hear it. Skull Splitter Dice, guys, they're an awesome dice company. They've been with us for a very long time. The link is in chat. You can check out their products. They sponsor our shows and also a giveaway that you can get in on during the campaigns. That's awesome. We really like Skull Splitter. It's very good. They're awesome to work with. So please go show them some love if you like our shows. Of course, our second sponsor is the gooeyest of cube companies, Gooey Cube. Gooey Cube makes a whole bunch of supplemental world-building materials for your tabletops. Dungeon Masters, if you do not have time to build a whole world for yourself from scratch, the Gooey Cube package is the whole thing with beautiful maps, beautiful artwork, incredible world building from the ground up for you in these beautiful physical boxes. There's digital copies as well available. Go check out Gooey Cube. The link is in chat. Of course, our wiki is up and running. Huge shout out to Tanner Mathalador and all of our campaign members for contributing to that. All the folks that work. There's a lot of writing that goes on to make those things happen. So check out the Twiki if you want a little information. And last but not least, guys, our charity this month is NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. It's the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to building better lives for the millions of Americans affected by mental illness. Now, we ask that rather than spending bits or subscribing or putting money into the channel, instead, click on the donate button. The link is in chat. There's a donate button in the About Us section as well. Click on that. It's going to take you directly to the donation page. Make a donation in our name, a friend's name, a loved one's name, whatever. Who doesn't matter, but make a donation. mental health is incredibly important. It is something that plagues our nation and most of the world, and we are in particularly trying times for folks, and this is a good cause. We highly recommend you do it. And with that, I think we're done. It is time to do the show. And we start the show with show and tell. Segues, I did it. Parker, what are you painting?
I'm still working on Little Bims.
Ooh.
So he needs like a double coat of everything that I did last time. So now I have to be careful while doing it.
Oh no, we hate that.
Yeah.
I'm also working on the same thing as always. Excuse the weird
Perfect.
pose. I needed to get to the joints. This is nearly done. And then I'll paint the falling star. Anna, what do you got?
This is part of a tricorder. So it finished 3D printing probably about like 20 minutes before the stream. And so I'm going to just prime everything first and then try to make it look like a real tricorder.
You guys have the whole 3D printer going like nonstop. Whenever we come over, it's like...
I'm obsessed. It's like I'm making myself all the cosplay accoutrements and all the little minis for different one-shots and campaigns. And so I'm having a blast with it.
Oh, it's perfect. That's so good. Okay, well, along those lines, do you have any painting experience? You're painting here. Have you done like mini painting and prop painting? A lot, right?
So my mom's actually an artist. So I think I've grown up painting. My two favorite mediums are actually watercolor and pastel. And so while mini painting is more along the acrylic line and like different types of paints, I do have a fair amount of experience with painting. I think, yeah. So I have a lot of fun with it.
Because you body paint, prop paint, so you paint, you do all the painting is what you're telling me.
Transferable skills. I think that while usually before getting into body paint, I mostly just painted flat surfaces. I do think that like once you get the feel of a medium, it's pretty easy to like transfer art skills between them. And so I think I come in with, I guess, some levels in other types of painting that I can use towards my mini painting.
Some proficiencies trade over.
Yeah. It's transferable.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Well, then Parker, I hand it to you.
Oh, how did you get into D&D?
Ooh, okay. So I'm not going to get any painting done as I answer questions. I'll just warn
Yeah,
everybody now.
no
I'll be
one
like
ever
priming this the whole time. So I actually think I got into board games earlier. And so I started playing board games when I was really little. My family had like a weekly board game night.
We did too growing up.
Aw.
It was so fun.
It was every Friday.
Oh my gosh, so was ours.
Yeah.
So my sister is not as competitive as I am, so I feel bad in hindsight. I was always like, I'm going to crush you. And she was like, okay. Like, sorry, Kate. But we loved playing board games, and I got really into... We played all sorts of games, but I got really into Dominion when I was in middle school. And so we played all sorts of those. And I think some board games have like role play elements in them, especially as you're playing like Betrayal at House on Hill and different games like that all through college. And so I'd also been a part of a lot of improv groups growing up, like doing theater and stuff. So they were always kind of combined for me. I think I got introduced to D&D itself maybe three years ago. And so my brother-in-law got really into it, and he's like, I'm going to DM a one-shot for you guys. And we're like, okay. So Corey and I made characters, and so that was our first time ever playing. And then I found Critical Role that same year, like a little bit later after we had first gotten into D&D. And so we've been hooked ever since.
And so Corey, for the audience, is your partner.
My
your
husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the second part of the dynamic duo. That is.
Yes.
He
He doesn't frequently like being on camera, so I just talk about him constantly, and you can just imagine what he looks like, I guess.
A power couple, you two are. I'm always floored every time we're like, oh yeah, our friends Anna and Corey are doing this and this and this, and they have a family, and we're like, oh my god, how? How do they manage this? So you guys are amazing. But hey, so you kind of explained how you got into D&D. In your kind of 3-4 years that you've been at it now, have you developed the favorite class, your number one? And if so, which one is it and why?
You know, I think that my favorites change. I've never been good at picking favorites. I'll like say something is my favorite, and then I'll be introduced to something new, and it's like, oh, shiny, no, this is my favorite. So I'd say like right now, I think my favorite is to play a cleric. I think I end up gravitating back and playing a lot of clerics. I I really love playing magic characters. I think that magic is so interesting, and I think that maybe because I am not magic in real life, I love exploring that through roleplay. And I think that getting your powers through your relationship with the deity, and I think it's really interesting to explore, especially in a world where like characters so intimately interact with deities, and how I think that can be really interesting. I've also played I'm playing in a campaign where like the gods have been like killed or outlawed, and I think that's even more interesting, like to explore like how then deities or like patrons. I play a warlock in that one though, but how you like kind of interact with them. And so I think that that's fun to explore in the roleplay side. But then I also just really love strategy games. And so playing a character that can be both a support character as well as do lots of damage, I think is really fun, because I love trying to find like, maybe combos is the wrong word, but I love playing like supportive characters and like seeing how you can set things up for your other players and stuff. So I have a lot of fun with that, and I think clerics are very versatile.
Completely agree. Cleric's best class, 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Would cleric again. Masterful class. More people should play clerics. All clerics, all the time.
Again.
All right.
I didn't know you were a cleric, like enthusiast Josh, when I played in the first game with you, and I played a cleric, and this was me really only knowing how to play a cleric via Laura Bailey, which was, not maybe the best example
I love
of me coming in trying to play a healer. So who knew? I didn't know that Josh was judging me the whole time, but
no judgment. All clerics are good clerics.
That's what's so fun about clerics, is you can play them so many different ways.
That's right. See, Anna's bringing that positive spin. We love it.
Love that. All right. So, do you have a favorite race to play? One that you always kind of lean into or find yourself drawn to more than the others?
I kind of mentioned I love exploring things in roleplay, and I think that can be really interesting. And so I think I usually gravitate towards things I'm not, or like things that kind of fit a backstory. I think I usually end up going like backstory first, and even to some extent class first when I'm designing a character, like kind of what do I want them to be like, and then pick a race from there. I've liked playing, I'm going to butcher this, how you pronounce it, but like playing an Aarakocra, that was really fun.
100% accurate. Perfect.
That one's
Oh yeah, good. So I don't know. I think I like playing things I am not.
That's fair. That's the sole appeal of the race stuff for me, is like, hey, I don't have to be me.
You say as a real life dwarf.
Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. So Aarakocra, though, we rarely get.
We
that
haven't
answer.
gotten that answer.
Yeah. Wow, we haven't.
No,
that's neat.
I don't think once.
Do you have a favorite Aarakocra character, Hannah?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think my favorite character I've played is a halfling, but it's kind of like homebrewed a little bit, because I also really wanted to be Azamar. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. In Azamar, and so my lovely husband Corey, he's DMing that one. He let me kind of like figure out how can I be both. And so I think that's my favorite character I've played, but I do like flying. That's something I really enjoy. So I think that's why I'm like, ooh, how can I fly?
Yeah, that's valid. I think Aasimar are interesting because, and this is in my homebrew, like in the new Tasha's books, they've come up with basically these like races that you can apply to other races. And in my mind, Aasimar should be that way.
Yes.
I don't know why they are. There should be Aasimar freaking halflings. There should be Aasimar gnomes. Aasimar is an infusion of celestial radiance.
Too.
Yeah. Like, there's quite a few races that are like that, and I'm hoping that D&D does something with that eventually. We'll see. Okay. So you shared with us your favorite class to play. Is there a class you haven't tried yet that you want to try out, or one that you want to revisit that you haven't played in a while? I know it's a big question.
That I haven't played that I want to play.
Yeah.
I've never played a dwarf, so maybe I want to be a dwarf at some point. So I think that could be fun.
We love dwarves. You're saying the right things here.
Oh, good. Oh, good. No, but I'm just trying to think of things I haven't played.
What
I
about
haven't
the
played that.
class, though? Is there any class?
Oh, let's see. I played a sorcerer, so we did a one-shot where I love princesses. I am like obsessed with princesses. If you go to my social media, you'll probably tell I love princesses. I actually work part-time as like a character actress, and I play a lot of princesses. And so we played a one-shot where I was a sorcerer, and I was like flavored her off of Rapunzel, and so I had her use like all of her magic from her hair, and so I would sing to get to like you, and it was really fun.
You
so
guys blow my damn mind. I
think it's very fun. Yeah.
And so I named her like Personette, which from the original myth of Rapunzel. And so I had a wildly fun time playing a sorcerer, and I had never been a sorcerer before. I think I have been like bard, wizard, cleric, warlock, and then so that's the one time I played a sorcerer, and I loved it. So I think I might do sorcerer again.
Ooh, I like
Josh
that.
is laughing because I also work part-time as a party princess, and then I played Rapunzel in a one-shot as a life domain cleric.
My gosh, yes, they're very similar because I did a divine soul sorcerer.
Yeah.
So I just took like a very, very similar approach.
Yep.
Flower gleam and glow.
Exactly.
I know things.
It's also very fun if you do the one from the Tangled show, which is like a necrotic damage kind of sort of thing. It's very fun. The Tangled show is very good.
Tangled the series is
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's so good.
This will become a brief promo for it. Like you should definitely check it out.
I have my Rapunzel wig. She's right there.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
She's right back there.
No, Tangled the series. Oh, so good, so good.
It's very good.
So I said to Alec before I got into this show, and then I said it to these two. I said, this is going to be interesting because Parker and Anna are very similar people, and you are just proving my point, bar none. Like you guys are like, it's like I did this. Oh man, I did this too. Oh, I did. Yeah, I did this. It's like boom, 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 boom.
Friday night, like board game nights growing up.
Did you also usually have pizza night that night? Was it also pizza night? Yeah, pizza night, yeah. Friday night. Yeah, Friday night, pizza night, and board games for sure. Yeah, it was every Friday.
That's amazing. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there, guys. I just
no, but it's true.
It's valid. Yeah,
you're not wrong.
It's super duper valid. I think my next question you might have already answered, but you wanted to play a dwarf, right?
Oh, yeah, I've never played them. No.
Yeah,
that could be fun.
Tell the audience, Anna, what's so awesome about dwarves? Do you think?
Oh my god.
Well, see, I've never played them, so this won't be like 100% accurate, but I have played with people who have been playing dwarfs, and I think they're really fun. So, like, so many people I know, like my sister, we play this campaign with my siblings, and so it's really just like me, my brother, who are like the returning people, and so I play a mermaid, and he's like kind of also like a sea creature. But my sister jumped in, and she was like a pirate dwarf, and it was just really fun, like super fun to role play. And so I think it was Bombdabella was her name, and we just had a lot of fun with it. And so Corey, my husband, has also played a dwarf, and I think what was really cool is he was playing a wizard, so he was playing a caster, but he still had proficiencies in
melee weapons.
And like armor and melee weapons. Yeah. And so this was really fun because like I love playing casters. I think like I said, I always end up playing a caster, and you know, sometimes it might be fun to not be as squishy of a wizard and still get to be a caster. Yeah. And then I don't know. I think that might be why I want to try it, because I love playing a caster, and it'd be fun to like explore that too.
It's, you know, that is a fantastic reason. Chat, seriously, mechanically, dwarves are incredible for so many reasons.
No, I mean, I was with you. I forgot that was your favorite, although I should have remembered that.
Well, when we played together, I played what? Tieflings? That's...
Yeah.
So
I don't think you've ever played a dwarf.
I don't think I've ever played a dwarf with you, funnily enough.
I didn't know that.
I played a Russian tiefling, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So be like, I love dwarves, and then kill the one you give them in your backstory. So like, who knows?
Well, I have issues. Let's not get into that, right?
You were like, just this character.
Anna actually DM'd for me when we played.
It was my very first time ever DMing too.
You did a good job. Very good job. That was a blast. We need to revisit that.
Yeah, we need to go back to it. Pandemic, like
pandemic hit.
Second
Kids,
child.
a kid happened. Yeah, it was like okay, yeah, we'll take a minute. Ugh, freaking Corey's character was a turtle. Very good.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
He was an amazing character. I loved it so much.
Cat was the like straight-laced Air Ganassi. It was very
The only one that ever did any damage.
Yeah, I nearly died constantly.
It's true.
Yep. Okay. So let's see. So then, here's where we get into the real hot takes. Hot takes.
Ooh, okay.
What is your least favorite class to play, and why?
I think so I think my least favorite class to play I've never actually played because I don't know. I've never played a monk, and I don't know if I want to.
Ooh, okay.
I guess for a few different reasons. Like, one, Corey and I got into a huge debate about this, and so I'm not gonna like reiterate our debate. I think in like I think monks can be interesting, but I guess both mechanically and role playing, I don't know if I want to play them. One, because like I said, I really love magic, and I like kind of gravitate towards that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think two, I think monks can be a lot in like PvP and like when you're playing against like
Other people.
other people, and so I don't love that about the class. But also I think like on a role play part, like I love playing warlocks and clerics. I love paladins. I love my paladin character. I love exploring like deities with characters and like how they fit into the world and like how their religion and their beliefs like impact the character. And I think you can do that with monks, but it's like almost like not needed. Like, I don't know, a monk in the real world is religious, but then in D&D it's like not. I don't know.
Interesting.
No, I'm not drawn to them.
That's super valid. They're a weird. We get the monk answer a lot, honestly. Like a lot of people are in agreement with you, and I think a lot of it's to do with they play so weird to any other class. Like you can draw similarities between rogues and rangers and fighters and barbarians. You can draw similarities between sorcerers and wizards. You can draw similarities between clerics and paladins. There's nothing like the monk. It is a weird one for people. It's out there mechanically, and that's
I don't
valid.
know.
Oh.
Maybe I'll play them at some point. We'll see.
One day.
Sure.
There's plenty of time. I think you're up, Parker.
I am. Sorry, I was opening my paint.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
You're good. Do you have a least favorite race to play, or one that you're just not interested in at all? Is there one that you just kind of are like, seen it done, not really interested?
I'm good.
Often play humans, and it's kind of for the reason I told you about like my favorite race to play, and I think it's because I am a human, and so I'm not always.
You've met that quota.
That happens. I think like I am very interested though in I love like casting characters into what class I think they would be, and I am obsessed with princesses, and so I think there are certain circumstances where I might want to play a human, like if it fit the narrative to be another princess, I might do it. But I think that one is one that I'm not as interested in playing, just because I know what it's like to be a human, and I role play that every day.
Honestly, super valid. That's a fairly common perspective too. I get those ones. So we are getting close to the end, my friends. Here we got 2 questions left for Parker and I. So that means it's time for the audience to ask their questions. My friends, you can highlight your questions. That will make it a lot easier for Parker and I to see them and ask them. If not, mods are in the chat and we'll try to do it for you because they're lovely and wonderful and we adore them. But start getting those questions in there so that they're ready to go when we get to you. But in the meantime, Anna, you're a content creator. You make content on a lot of channels. What's the origin story for that?
So I think I mentioned towards the beginning of the stream, I've done art for a long time. And so I think a lot of cosplay I also did for a long time, but I didn't realize it was cosplay. Like I have pictures of me at 4 dressed as Belle to attend to sing the musical Beauty and the Beast with my grandmother. Like I would, role play with my friends, and we made videos. We often made like, I guess, fan videos of Artemis Fowl, and we would act out different things, and we'd constantly get dressed up, and we would do all these skits, and hopefully those recordings never surface. But I kind of grew up doing things like that. But then I guess like with dressing up to go places, I think Star Trek first like really got me into cosplay. And again, I have a picture of me as a newborn being held by a Klingon at a Star Trek convention. And so Star Trek's something I watched with my dad growing up, and we would go to conventions together. And so I loved that. That was really fun. Although it was like probably about 2017 that I realized I can get into Star Trek cosplay on a Tuesday and take pictures of myself. And it doesn't have to be a convention to like wear a new costume. Like I can make this anytime. And this was like, it seems silly, but it was a really novel realization for me. And it really opened up, I think, my love of like cosplaying. And when I first was like, okay, like I can cosplay, like I can do this anytime. And so that was kind of fun. And so I think that's like what maybe like pushed me into cosplaying and like sharing some of my cosplays online. I think kind of like Parker said, like being a party princess, and so getting to dress up as a princess and like do parties. I think that also really pushed me into like sharing my content online.
I started doing it.
Yeah. It was kind of like a joke actually how I got into it. So I was a teacher, and so I was teaching, and I taught physics, chemistry, and computer science. And I think it was in one of my chemistry classes, I was describing something, and I was describing the types of bonds as like breakups in songs. And so I'd play different songs and like describe these concepts. And that was like a frequent thing I did for them, because I think music can really help in learning. And so after class one day, some kids came up to me and they're like, hey, if being a teacher doesn't work out, like you should consider being a princess. And then they left, and I was like, is that a job? And so then I ended up Googling it. I was like, oh, it is. And so I started doing that part-time. And I think that pushed me into doing more content online as well. And so kind of like different things together got me interested in sharing some of my art and work online. And so, yeah.
I love that question because it's so unique for every single person that we speak to. Every time it's like this whole journey that you get to.
It's very true. I also just feel like it's semi-important because Josh keeps telling us that we're very similar. That my very first Dragon Con I went and attended, and my two siblings bought me a photograph and an autograph from Brent Spiner, who is my favorite character from Star Trek, which is Mr. Data.
So we are very similar. Although I think Riker's my favorite, and I embarrassed myself fully. So I was at a dance competition. So I was with my swing dance team. We were at this dance competition.
I also did swing dance. Never mind. Continue.
Oh my god.
Okay, so like we're the same person. Did you also go to a convention during the dance competition? So
no, not
okay. Close. I dragged my friends with me, and so like we competed, and then I provided uniforms for everybody, like Star Trek uniforms, and we all went to the convention. Yeah, because if you're gonna try to drag your friends to the convention with you, you're like, here, we're also gonna cosplay. And
who does that sound like, Parker? Sorry, guys. Please.
I know.
Josh, are you feeling like you're third wheeling right now?
I understand why I like you both.
But I met Jonathan Frakes, and for backstory, I have every episode of Star Trek ranked on a scale from 1 to 9, just like my dad does, because I've seen all of them, except for I don't have some of the new series ranked. Like I'm not up to date with Discovery, like in my ranking system. I've watched it, I love it, but I'm not up to date with my ranking system. So like, don't ask me about my favorites there. But I met him, and he was like, what's your favorite Star Trek episode? And I literally, no joke, had been babbling for like the 3 hours beforehand all about my favorite Star Trek. He asked me, and I like blanked and was like, do I know anything? I don't know.
I met Brent Spiner at my very first convention ever, Dragon Con 2013. And I walked up to him after like taking the picture with him at his booth later to get him to like sign it. And I couldn't get enough words out that he literally was like, are you flirting with me? And signed it, I'm too old for you. And then signed it.
Oh my God.
I was like,
I love it.
I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But he did remember me when I saw him at Montreal Comic Con a couple of years later. And that was fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh,
but
I love it.
It was very good. Okay, we'll move off Star Trek now. What is your biggest hobby outside of D&D?
Probably board games, if those count as separate hobbies. I think.
For sure.
I think
Yeah.
I would count board games. I have a ridiculously large shelf filled with my board game collection, and my board game collection does not all fit. And so some of our are on rotation, either on the floor or on the chair next to it. Try to make it work. I throughout the pandemic, I also got into playing board games online. And so if that's separate than board games, that's another hobby. I think I also really love music. So I've played the piano since I was 4. And so I also play the accordion, the flutes, piccolo, a bunch of other instruments. And so I love making music and I love singing. And I think that that's something I super enjoy. And so, yeah, making music. Because I also like painting. I have too many hobbies.
I do all the
I
things.
think it's too many hobbies. The hobby I play the next is all of them.
Yeah.
All the things.
I do think it's funny because I saw one of your TikToks about rating board games at one point, and you were like going through about a specific the bird one.
Wingspan.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
And then Josh and Kat took me to a game store, and I was sitting there.
Enchanted
and I was like,
Grounds.
yeah. And I looked at Kat, and I looked at I was like, does your friend Anna have the expansion of that? I was like, because there's an expansion now. I was like, it was very funny because I was like, board games. This is what I remember.
Well, and Anna plays pretty much everything. Like, it was so fun. We like Magic the Gathering, so I like grabbed cards for Corey's birthday, and I was like, oh my god, I love Magic the Gathering. I'm playing it on mobile right now. I'm like, how do you do this?
It feels like, Josh, when you go, yeah, I've played that video game, and I go, with what time?
I don't know.
When? You go to bed at a normal time. When? When do you do this? I was like, what do you mean?
Huh? What do? Okay, is it time for questions and answers?
It is time for
All
questions.
right. I'm going to take it this time, Parker, because you've done
I'm
it
proud
like
of
the
you.
last 3
I am
And
waiting
I'm-
for something to
I'm
dry, but
finished. Oh, that's
here for
perfect. So our first question comes from our wonderful friend Kat, our Auburn alchemist. I can't believe I nearly wasn't able to
You
say the
literally-
Love
name.
you.
Hi, Kat.
Hi,
Love
Kat.
you, Cat.
My wife.
Hey, Kat.
Wait,
So-
I thought she was mine. This is getting
Oh
is awkward.
no.
All of them.
Yeah, cool. It's both
It
of
is
your guys.
Kat's
This is
worst
both of you.
nightmare. All 3 people.
Has there been a moment in game or character that significantly impacted you in real life?
In real life.
Yeah. Like a D&D character that like really got you.
Ooh, that's a good question. I think well, Kat, you already know the story, but I'll tell it anyway. But I think there was I think the one moment when we were playing D&D that like I still think about is that in general, I don't like to think I'm not an evil person, but I had a lot of fun. We played a horror one-shot. And so this was with some of my family, and my brother-in-law is insanely talented at roleplay. He also works as like an anime reviewer, and so he's just generally like super, super talented and fantastic. And so we were playing this horror one-shot, and our characters started to like have a conflict of interest. And it was really interesting too, because the DM, who's a different brother-in-law of mine, was texting us different things and like almost fueling this fight or this feud between our characters. And it was wildly fun to have a group that I felt comfortable enough, like role-playing, and comfortable enough to like have a really intense conflict with another player, like play out and like where we were genuinely like at odds with each other. And it was really cool to feel comfortable enough with everybody at the table and like feel close enough that we could have this kind of like tense moment that like divided the party. And it was really fun. And we had a great time, like kind of having this like evil moment. And so I think that has kind of stuck with me as like, oh, wow, I really liked having like some conflict and some kind of like evil things seep into.
Oh, that's
game.
beautiful. Yeah,
So
that's
it's really fun.
When you find a group that you're comfortable with like that, it's very solid. So our second question is from the wonderful Cremaniac, and they ask, your favorite moment when you or your party broke the DM, and also your favorite natural 1 or 20. So are there any moments that you were like, oh man, the DM didn't see it coming and I got him?
So one time we were playing and my husband was DMing and he had set up this puzzle and it was supposed to be tricky for us to like navigate these really narrow bridges to get to these doors. And so it was like this kind of puzzle and it was supposed to be tricky. And then I remembered, I was like, wait a minute. Like, because we tried one door and it was locked. He was like, oh, we're going to have to like check all the doors. We're going to have to figure this out. And I was like, wait, I know a cantrip that can open unlocked doors. Like, what's the range? And so I was just able to try to open all the doors, not crossing the creepy bridges that were really narrow. And I found it. I found the unlocked door. And so that was really fun.
One of those like, sorry, bud.
I was like, wait, this is a cantrip too. Like, I'll just keep trying. And so that, I think, was my favorite moment. It was fun.
That's a good one.
And then natural ones and natural 20s. I was playing a one shot where I think I rolled 5 natural ones, just like almost in a row. And it's like, I swear my character should be good at this. She's just like having an off night. She must be drinking. And so I think, again, when you're with a group where you can like role play and kind of like lean into those, it can be so fun. Like, oh no, like what happened? I was playing a siren, and so she's a mermaid, but specifically an Irish mermaid. So my grandparents are from Ireland, and so I'm a little more than half Irish. And so I flavored this whole character basing her off of an Irish mermaid. She's a bard, and so I picked all her spells and really roleplay her that she's trying to learn all these languages to lure sailors to their death. And so I think I was trying to make some sort of check that like a sit performance or something, like I should have been good at it and just failed. And it's like, oh gosh. And then it's like everything she was doing was failing. I'm like, yeah, I work better in the ocean. Like, I don't know what's happening. I need to go back to the sea. And so I think that was fun to role play.
Leading into failing is the best. I love that sort of thing. It's a delight.
I try not to take myself too seriously because I'm such a competitive person. I'm like, I've got to lean into the role play so I don't get mad at myself. Yeah.
Well, Obscure for the World asks, who's your favorite superhero and why?
Ooh. Okay. My favorite superhero has historically always been Captain America, but I just recently saw Shang-Chi and I'm like, do I have a new favorite superhero? I really liked the movie, but I think historically Captain America has always been my favorites. I really love reading Marvel comics. I do also really like Wonder Woman. And so I think I'm reading one of her comic book arcs right now, and I'm loving it. I love all the Greek gods are still there and interacting in the world. I think that's really fun. And so I think from comics, I'd probably go with Captain America or Wonder Woman. But like from movies, I think I might be leaning toward Shang-Chi just because I loved the movie. It was so good.
Nothing but good things.
Oh, it was so good. Go see it. Go see it.
Oh, okay. The next question is from this strange account called Sir Coffeeholic.
Who's that?
I don't know, but they ask, who's your favorite DM you've ever played with?
This is a loaded question.
Yeah, this is a trap.
I don't think that myself. I think I am the best DM I've ever played with.
Oh!
No. But confidence is key.
I respect that.
Please tell me he's in the room with you right now.
No, he's not.
He's upstairs?
I think he's in another floor. I think he's technically still at work. So.
Oh! Corey, stop messing around. Get back to work. That's awesome, though. That's valid. Yeah. You've got a lot of good DMs to play with. So.
I have. I've played with a lot of good DMs. I think almost all of my brother-in-laws have DM'd at one point, so maybe I need to peer pressure the last one, Ryan, into DMing so I can make like a educated decision.
Get a collection of them to decide from.
Yes.
That's valid. The betrayal if you don't pick Corey.
I know. I can't answer that question, but I think, yeah.
So Kat asks, what is the most complicated cosplay you've ever built?
I think maybe, I don't know, complicated and time consuming. It's interesting because I think that those don't always align. Like sometimes they're correlated, but they're not always the same. And so I think some as I've gotten better too, like at doing things, I think that changes kind of how I feel. Like, but at the time that I made it, I think that Not was the hardest cosplay I've ever made. I think that it was one of my first times like attempting styling a wig. I had a lot of fun like making the mask using Warbler. Like I had never really dabbled in that skill before. Like making the ears, like trying to make it match with the body paint. Like I repainted those ears to try to like make sure as I like played around with makeup trials for like how I wanted to do the body paint. And I made all the jewelry because I wanted her to have like jewelry and I wanted it to work. So like I made all the jewelry there. Oh, wait, I might change my answer. I think, well, I made Deja Thoris's. Yeah, okay, well, I made Deja Thoris's wedding costume from John Carter, which is an underrated movie. Everyone should go see that one too. But that's like not going to see it. It's really old, but it's great. Yeah. Anyway, it's that movie's based off The Princess of Mars, which was written by the same author who wrote Tarzan. So in the movie, her wedding dress, I made that once. And of course, like 2 people at the convention recognized me, but they freaked out because it was very niche.
That is a deep cut.
It was a deep cut, but I beaded the entire headpiece. And so I like handmade that out of like wire and stuff. And so I beaded the whole headpiece, styled the wig, and then we draped. So Corey helped me and I like draped all of the satin, and I draped everything for the pattern, and then made tons of rhinestones and like hand stitched it and everything. So I think one of those 2.
Insane amount of work that goes into
would be that one of those 2, I think, for now.
Oh my god. Okay, so wait, hold on. I got behind on my questions. Wait. Okay, Commune DM asks, what Disney princess would make the most badass D&D character? And then Kat immediately was like, oh, this is the right person to ask this question.
So I have cast all the Disney princesses. And so that's something on my YouTube channel because I'm really into thinking about this. I even made a stat block for the Droon from Raya and the Last Dragon, and I like made an item for like.
Can I see that? Oh, I need to get that from you.
It's all on my YouTube channel.
I think it's so cool. I homebrewed. I didn't tell you this. I homebrewed the little armadillos and put them in my world to use as mounts. Yeah, I have to. I'll send you the stat block. Anyway, sorry. Moving on. Yeah.
No, okay. I think the Droon would be and you'll see in this video I ramble all about it, but I think the Droon would be such cool villains to like plop into a D&D game. And so I kind of talk about it, and I made this stat block, and I think they're really interesting. And so with that in mind, I think there's a lot of different Disney princesses that would make great D&D characters. I do think Raya is particularly cool. I love her weapon. I think she has like a lot of interesting flavor. I think Elsa is another obvious answer just because. And this is a video that's like not up on our channel anymore, but I actually, as a physicist, calculated how much power Elsa has, and I spent way too long like calculating like how much power and how much energy it would take to like freeze all of Arendelle. I did all the calculations. And so Elsa, I think, is another obvious answer because like she literally can use ice to create life, like sentient beings. And so I think that like that's big. Yes. Like that's big. Yes.
Well, and that's a simulacrum. You know that is literally a simulacrum. You use snow to make a simulacrum. That's crazy.
I think I might go Elsa, but I also just love Elsa. But yeah,
I think the one about this a lot. Wizards, could you make better ice and snow spells in D&D, please? Because the list is really short and not very good.
And we need more if you're gonna play Elsa.
Yeah, this is
obviously.
Important.
This is critical.
Deeply personal.
Yes. I have been, and Parker, this may be you too, but I have played Elsa so many times. Yes. Like I know all of her songs, all the harmonies.
When Frozen first came out, I was in college and I had just started being a party princess. And when I tell you I wasn't Elsa, the girl who owned the company was Elsa almost every weekend with me because I was Anna every weekend for 2 years almost.
Oh yeah.
So I very much am usually Anna.
Oh, that's interesting. I was always I played Anna too, but I feel like I was Elsa a lot. Like Frozen 2 came out, and then I did this huge corporate event like 3 days later. And so thankfully I had like seen the movie, but I remember like sitting in my car, like drilling the Frozen 2 songs because I was like, I have to sing these in front of about 400 people in like an hour. I remember I was like, oh gosh.
I did a very similar thing when I did Rapunzel the couple of times that because Rapunzel was one of my main girls that I did, and having to watch the Tangled series, because the first moment I walked in, and I was so glad I did, because I walked in and they were watching the show, and yes. I was like, oh, I'm glad I did this.
Yeah. I had a very similar moment with Sophia the First, and this was like
you had to do call. Sophia.
I've been a lot of the princesses, but this one in particular, this one was a problem.
Sophia.
So princess party companies aren't allowed to like legally use the Disney names. And
They're
so
fantasy
Sophia
characters.
Was called the first princess. Now, I had played Snow White many times before, and I was like, okay, yeah, I got this. And then I was like, wait a minute. We call Snow White the fairest princess, and I'm booked for the first princess. And I realized this, like, thankfully a few days before the party, and I was like, I don't know anything. So I learned her song, and then I watched a handful of episodes. I tried to like watch some episodes, and then I Wikipedia and I read the synopsis of every episode. And it was like a thank God moment, because I walked in and she's like, this is my favorite show, and started like rattling off facts and like listing characters. And that's when you're like, ooh, I've got this. Thankfully, Wikipedia had my back at midnight last night. Yep. And I do know those.
You were in the village doing all right, and then you became a princess overnight. Boom!
Gotta figure out how to do it right. So much to learn and see.
Up in the castle with my new family. It's literally so long.
Yeah. But you guys know it from TikTok, though. This is different.
Oh, I know because I worked a lot of traveling princess balls.
Oh,
and
that counts.
That was one of the songs that like they just constantly. It was and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I know this song, I guess. And depending on what princess you were playing, you needed to know what episode or thing how you know Sophia, because they come in and teach her things,
and they all have songs, or like lots of them have songs, and so like they'll ask you like, oh, can you sing True Sister? And I'm like, okay, yes, I am Cinderella right now, I can sing True Sister, we'll sing just a bit of it. Like,
yeah, just like the tiniest little bit. Yes. Relatable.
We're beyond my ability to keep up with this conversation is over. True Sister, yes. That's 100% accurate. That's very cool, though. Okay. Next question. Obscure for the World asks, favorite prop you've made? You made a lot of props.
I like props. I think I love jewelry. I think that that's like something I've done for a while. So I really like making jewelry. I like even characters where like jewelry might not be the most important aspect. I'm like, I'm going to make 4 necklaces that like fit their vibe. So I just finished making Vex's jewelry for that cosplay I'm working on. So that's been really fun. I don't think that's my favorite prop though. I had a lot of fun making Knott's ears and all of Knott's accessories. I think that was really fun. But I will say, I think the headpiece that I used for my Ruby of the Sea, and so what I did is I cannibalized my Deja Thoris headpiece, the one I made for her wedding dress, and I redid a lot of it, including like changing the front and trying to make it fit more of the artwork. And I think that might be my favorite. So I used like probably at least 50 different types of beads, and I had like different chains, and so I like wove and made hand
beading is so relaxing.
I love it.
Hand beading is so relaxing. Like you just put something on and you're like, this is great. I'm getting it done. I love hand beading stuff.
And it looks so pretty.
It like when you're done.
So pretty when you're done. And so I think that might be my favorite prop I've made, is that kind of in the jewelry side.
That's valid. You do a lot of jewelry work. It's crazy. Like, even not everything was hand done. I remember, like, that was the first time we ever met, and you were
all the chains.
You were in full knot, and you were putting it all on, and I was like, holy shoot.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. Can you believe that?
That's insane. That is
showed up on my memories. That's when we first met, you and Kat, and I was like, oh, it's been 2 years.
When we tried to go to the Garden of the Gods and it was closed, so we had to go to a random corner in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Well, thankfully you guys knew the area.
Were there mountains? Could you see?
There were mountains.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Parker came
I'm
all the way
convinced
out
that
here.
Denver is just a flat plain.
You didn't see any mountain? Oh,
The
the air quality was so
so
bad that weekend.
Yeah.
You, like, could hardly see anything. Like,
Josh
we have...
was so upset. We were driving back from the airport, and he was like, "It looks like we live in a field." And I
No,
was like,
there's tons of mountains. Like, they're everywhere.
Maybe
Yeah, because
very
you guys
funny.
even drove down to Larkspur,
Yep.
and you didn't see any mountains.
Just like really basic part of the Front Range with
You gotta
nothing
come
in
back.
it. That's
"Yeah, that was what I said."
You
I was
gotta
like,
come
"Well,
back.
guess
Take
I'll
all
be
the way
back."
we could take you to Garden of the Gods. Man, that place.
It's an excuse to come back. We'll do a photo shoot. I'll
Yeah.
bring my camera.
I'm just now
That's what
being
we
like, "All right, well, there we go. We'll do it." There we go. I packed so many cosplays in a tiny suitcase for Kat. Don't think I won't do it again.
Yeah,
was
we just
impressive.
come on, Kat. We gotta do more. We'll just I joke that I grew my own photographer. So my husband and I have been together since I was 19. We met when I was 18, and so I have had him take pictures of me forever. And now he's like really good. So I have my own personal photographer.
I'm still
and
training
it works
mine.
out great.
He's
Fair.
very, very good.
He's very good.
Oh. So our next question is from the Frisian, and then we've got one more after that. So and then we're hitting that one out, Mars. This is perfect, guys. Thank you. So the Frisian asks, was there ever a character you hated playing but were very good at? And I'm thinking this might be in regards
is
to the
probably Disney.
princesses. Yeah, is there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Least favorite Disney princess to portray. Go.
I can do Snow White's voice, and
God.
I'm
Same
approved.
person.
I'm one of the few people in our company who was like approved to play her just because of being able to sing her range. And so I think that one's hard for me just because just because her voice is different. Like that style of Disney movie and that style of singing is different. I think previously the company I worked for had like a really, really uncomfortable Sleeping Beauty costume. And it was like, wool.
Can do this.
And I literally
This is
felt
as far
like
as you can go.
claustrophobic every time I put it on. And I also had this like panic that I like, you know, when you can't take something off and you're just like panicked about it. I literally, so I played her quite a few times, but like every time I needed to get like either another performer or like make my husband drive out there because I was so scared that I would get stuck in the costume. And so after going back to princessing after having my second kid, I was playing Sleeping Beauty and I was like, I'm not going to be I forgot that like we had upgraded the costume, but I had been having like panic attacks leading up to it. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to take this costume off. Like I'm a different size. Like what if I get stuck? I didn't. It was fine. Like totally worked out.
It feels a little uncomfortable because of where they put that sleeve. It's just like, oh, I didn't need to move
Lift my arms.
past
Well,
here.
And I think that because it's like taking a cartoon costume and making it fit like a real human, that can always be a little bit dicey or a little bit stressful. And so I'd say like I love really all the princesses. Like I have a lot of fun playing them and I love getting to play different characters. I think it's always like an acting challenge and it's really fun to like be that character. But if I had to pick, I'd say those two are kind of the hardest. Well, I love Aurora. So I would say Snow White is kind of like the hardest, I think, for me.
White is my least favorite to portray, and I also am one of the only people that's approved to do her because her voice range.
Yeah, and so it's hard.
Same.
It's fun but hard.
Yeah, you too, Josh? Yeah.
That and I do the reindeer from Frozen.
I stop. Stop, please.
That's what you're approved as.
Yeah,
Anna,
that's my
who is your
approvals.
favorite Disney princess? I'm going off book for just a second.
Yeah,
Who's your favorite Disney princess?
Okay.
I know you
okay.
ranked them. I know.
I know. It's hard. I'm gonna say that Elsa can be my favorite queen, and
Yes.
I don't have to include her, and I can just say Elsa. I love Cinderella. I actually, it's one of the few live action remakes I really love, but I also just like love the story of Cinderella in so many iterations. Like I love Ever After. And so in the live action 2015 Cinderella, their dance at the ball was my first dance at my wedding. Shout out to Corey who had to learn the whole thing because I'm
Holy
extra. And so that was our first dance. And so I'd say Cinderella is just, I love her. I've choreographed the musical version of Cinderella. I really love Cinderella.
That's awesome. That's very valid.
But Elsa is also my favorite, but like she's a queen, so I can like have both concur.
Elsa and Anna can both sit in queen, and you don't have to worry about them technically.
Exactly.
I can confirm every time I've walked into Anna and Corey's house, the kiddo has been watching Cinderella or Frozen.
They're favorites. They're favorites in our house.
And I worked at Disney for a little while, and they are separate. Anna and Elsa sit in a separate thing. They're not technically in the Disney Princess lineup.
It's true.
They sit in their own franchise because that's the way that Disney can make more money.
Interesting.
Because they don't get to be in on all the Disney Princess merch. Anyway, continuing from Disney.
Okay. Well, last question. Speaking of I don't know. That's not a segue. Anyway, Yar Morgan, our dear musical friend, asks, "Hi, what is the next creative comfort zone you're excited to step out of and explore? Love your work, by the way."
Oh, thank you. I have one music video that I've put out, and it was very fun. I did a Star Trek parody to Build Me Up Buttercup to Beam Me Up Scotty. And so I was my own backup dancers, and I like in Premiere did movie magic to like have myself as my own backup dancers, and I made this music video. But I really want to do more music. Like I realize I miss it so much. Like when you're in school and when you're in college, it's really easy to like be a part of the choir. It's easy to accompany people. It's easy to join. Like when I lived in Portland, I was able to join a band and play my accordion, and I realized that like I really miss that. Like I'm not teaching piano right now, and so I haven't had as much time to do music. And so that's something I'm currently like actively working on. And so it makes me a little nervous. And so I definitely am like stepping out of my comfort zone, but I am going to start integrating music into a lot more that I do. So I actually just got the backing track to my next cover song that I'm putting out. And so I'm doing a blues cover of Into the Unknown because I have sung with the jazz choirs for years, and I've competed in jazz singing. And so I helped write and like arrange a blues cover of Into the Unknown. And so that's actually like in the works right now. Like
I also sang for jazz bands. Continue.
We're the same person. And so that's fun. I also, I've been making lots of my own musical tracks.
Don't actually die.
The bit nearly killed me.
Don't die.
I watched the fear in your eyes. Be careful.
Yeah, be careful.
Sorry, Anna, please proceed.
I'm doing more music. I'm putting music into things. And then I guess I'm really pushing myself out of my comfort zone this year because I also have, you see it kind of behind me. I'm not using it right now because it's not fully set up. We're still building it, but I'm going to start streaming.
Ooh.
So that's new. That's something new I'm doing-ish or will be doing. I'm not doing, I guess I'm streaming right now, but not like yet. So that'll be fun. Oh, and I'm also making a cosplay calendar. So I have multiple shoots into my cosplay calendar. And so, yeah, I'm doing all the things. I'm going to try to push myself out of my comfort zone. But music's kind of the biggest one that I'm working on.
What a good question and a perfect one to end on. My friends,
yeah.
Where did you guys get to on your creative endeavors? How we doing? Parker, where'd you get? He's blue.
I primed everything.
It's all primed.
I
primed all the pieces.
I'm pretty proud. I completely finished her. Look at that.
So good.
That's looking great.
She's done, finally.
I love it.
A month later. Hey, we're going to head out here in a second, but first we're going to do a few quick announcements, and then we're going to let Anna say goodbye. Guys, we could not make any of this awesome sound effects happen without our amazing partner, Soundtail. They are so good. They've been with us since the very, very beginning. And you can get a copy of this app for use in your games. It's peer-to-peer sharing on cell phone and mobile devices. If you're remote, you can put it on your cell and play it at the tabletop. You can have it on your computer. You can share it out over your Discord. It's all royalty-free. It's very good. The link is in chat. We highly recommend you check out Soundtail. Parker, over to you.
I'm here. Remind you that we're affiliated with Found Familiar Coffee. If you'd like to taste Initiative, you can use the code and link in chat for 10% off. You can also use the code and link in chat for Crafty Gamer. We also are affiliated with them. They make wonderful ambiance candles and a lot of other stuff that's super fun. And then if you caught the... Thank you, Merlin.
Merlin approves.
Merlin approved. Also, Arcane Anthems, who makes a lot of wonderful free D&D music for the D&D space. He did our theme for our shows and including this one. So go check him out.
And last but not least, a huge shout out to our fantastic mods. I believe Commune DM has been doing it for us today. We love you, Commune. Our mods keep this channel very safe, very comfortable. We would be nothing without them. Thank you to our mods. We love you. And now, Anna, one more time, where can the people find you?
I copied Will Wheaton, who's my hero, with the username Itsannamargaret, just like how he's Will Wheaton. So I am Itsannamargaret everywhere, and so I post weekly to YouTube. I post new videos every Friday. I put cosplay all over Instagram and TikTok, and I somewhat know Twitter. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm there, and I like to chat with people. And so, yeah, I have lots of fun projects coming up, and hopefully more music. That was a great question. And so, yeah, check it out.
Well, thanks, Anna. We really enjoyed having you. Guys, be here on Friday. Not on Friday. I lied. I'm a liar. I did a big lie. Be here on Saturday for Conundrum Company. No OTR this week, so don't be here for that. And we will see you again soon. Anna, thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
I need to find the leaving thing. And you're out.